Kingdom of Fools by A.K. Ramanujan. Hello, I am Sushma, PGT English from KVNHPC Dharchula. I welcome you all in English session for class 9th book Moments chapter 4th in the Kingdom of Fools by A.K. Ramanujan. It's really a very interesting folk tale. You will enjoy it a lot and also learn some very important practical lessons for life. I want you to pay attention to the title of the story and think what may be in the story. It is believed that fools are so dangerous that only very wise people can manage them. Who are the fools in this story? What happens to them? Dear student, how is the kingdom of fools? How is it different from other kingdoms? Who are wise people here? How can they solve the problems created by the fools? We will get answers of all such questions in this beautiful folk tale. But before that, let's know something about the writer of this folk tale. Kingdom of Fools folktale has been written by A.K. Ramanujan. His full name is Atpet Krishnaswamy Ramanujan. He was born on 16th March 1929 and passed away on 13th July 1993. He wrote in both English and Kannada with the same dexterity. He is an Indian poet, philologist, folklorist, translator, playwright, scholar. His scholarly work has been translated into 5 different languages. He is an iconic figure for the Indian literary community. He has been awarded the Sahitya Academy Award posthumously in 1999. In the Kingdom of Fools is a folktale. What is folktale? Folktale is an oral fictional story rather than written. It is passed from one generation to another. It has been taken from myths, fables and various other sources. So it has theme and motive. The present story is a Kannada folktale. It has been taken from A.K. Ramanujan's book Folktales from India. Folktales from India is an enchanting collection of 110 tales. All the tales have been translated from 22 different languages. First time this book was published in 1991. Characters' role is very vital in any fictional work as the characters perform action, speak dialogues. So first let's try to know the characters of the story. Foolish king who took stupid decision, idiot minister always supported king in his wrong decision, guru who was full of wisdom, who made the kingdom free from foolish king and his minister, disciple who ignored his guru's wisdom for his temptation to food, thief who died while taking out of his loot, goldsmith, dancer, bricklayer, merchant, all faced trial of the thief's death. This Kannada folktale is about a kingdom which was governed by an idiot king and his stupid ministers. Since they were foolish, they decided to change day into night and night into day. They ordered their subjects to work during the night and sleep during the day. Anyone who violated the rules would surely get death punishment. The second uncommon rule in that kingdom was that everything could be purchased in single judu. Whether one wanted to purchase rice or banana, same cost he had to pay. One day a guru and his disciple arrived in that city. They found the city beautiful with broad daylight. but they were surprised that all people were sleeping during daytime. Even they trained the cattle to sleep in daytime. Throughout the day, they wandered the whole city but found none. As the evening approached, the city became full of activities. Being hungry, they went to a shop to buy some food. Again, they were surprised as everything cost the same. Now, both the Guru and his disciple had to take the decision either to stay in that kingdom or to leave it immediately. The Guru realized that it was the kingdom of fools, quite unsafe to stay. So he said to his disciple, "This is no place for us. Let's go. They are all fools. This won't last very long, and you can't tell what they will do to you next." But the disciple wouldn't listen to the Guru's wisdom. He wanted to stay, ate his fill every day, bananas and ghee, rice and wheat, and grew fat like a street side sacred bull. The disciple was happy in that kingdom. Suddenly a problem took place. One day a thief broke into a rich merchant's house by making a hole in the wall of his house. While he was taking his loot out of the house through the same hole, the wall collapsed and killed him. The thief's brother accused the merchant for the death of his brother. It was his poor quality wall that killed his brother. So he approached to the king for justice. He wanted the merchant to be punished for family compensation. The king assured him for justice. The trial was taken place. The king called the merchant because he wanted to punish him for the crime. The king said to the merchant, "Your wall killed this man's brother. You have murdered a man. We have to punish you." The merchant spoke in his defense. "I didn't put up the wall. It's really the fault of the man who built the wall. He didn't build it right. You should punish him." Thus he blamed the bricklayer responsible for that crime. The bricklayer requested the king, "Please listen to me before you give your orders. It's true, I built this wall and it was no good. But that was because my mind was not on it. I remember very well a dancing girl who was going up and down that street all day with her anklets jingling, and I couldn't keep my eyes or my mind on the wall I was building. You must get that dancing girl. I know where she lives." Thus he blamed the dancing girl for the death of the thief. The trial was continued. The dancing girl came for the trial. The king rebuked the dancing girl for diverting the attention of the bricklayer by her frequent movements, and thus declared her criminal. She put her plea to the king, "My lord, wait. I know now why I was walking up and down that street. I had given some gold to the goldsmith to make some jewelry for me. He was a lazy scoundrel. He made so many excuses, said he would give it now and he would give it then, and so on all day. He made me walk up and down to his house a dozen times." She blamed the goldsmith. The goldsmith gave his justification. "I am a poor goldsmith. It's true. I made this dancer come many times to my door. I gave her excuses because I couldn't finish making her jewelry before I finished the rich merchant's orders. They had a wedding coming and they wouldn't wait. You know how impatient rich men are." And the rich man was none but the same merchant. The trial was over. What do you think? Justice was fair or not? Who was criminal according to the king? Let's try to know. Justice came a full circle. Finally, the blame was passed on to the same merchant at whose house the wall had fallen. The merchant again requested that it was his father who ordered for jewelry, and he was dead. The merchant was innocent. The king consulted with his foolish minister. and decided that as the merchant had inherited everything from his criminal father, so he would be punished in his father's place. So a new stake was made for execution, but the merchant was too thin to fit it. Now the king decided to find such a person for execution who was too fat to fit the stake, and such person was found. He was none but the disciple who was too fat because of eating good and cheap food. The disciple then remembered his guru's wisdom and recalled him for help. With his visionary power, the guru came to know that his disciple was in trouble. He came to help him. He played a trick with the king by whispering something in the ear of his disciple. After that whispering, they started fighting with each other to be executed first. The king was totally confused. He inquired from the guru the cause of their fight. The guru told him that the new stake was lucky. One who would be executed on the stake first would be the king in the next birth, and the second executed one would be his minister. The king postponed the execution because he wanted to grab the kingdom in the next birth. So he ordered to send the criminal in night to be executed, and in night the king and his minister got execution in the disguise of the guru and his disciple. After the death of the king, all were surprised, but they were very happy as the kingdom was free from foolish king and his silly minister. All began to discuss who would be the next king and the minister. They begged the guru and the disciple to govern their kingdom. They agreed, but on the condition that they would change all the old laws. After that, nights were nights and days were days. People started to sleep in night and to do their business in day. Nothing for it to do. Everything was as usual. What do we take away from the story? The first takeaway is stay away from foolish person or be ready for dire consequences. Just as in this story, the disciple faced a problem because of staying in the kingdom ruled by the foolish king and his minister. Similarly, if we keep the company of foolish people, we may be in great problem. The second takeaway is use wisdom, not logic or argument to tackle the foolish people. In this story also, the guru used his wisdom to save the life of his disciple. He did not try to prove his innocence by giving logic and argument to the king because he was foolish. He could not understand logic and argument.